Hi, everyone. I'm Simone Simpson from Wondering Yoga Cafe Entertainment, and this is our 30-day, 1 meal a day challenge, day 14, 1-4. Oh my goodness, 14 days in. Today is 2 weeks. We are 2 weeks in of 1 meal a day, and this is feeling really good. How are you feeling? That's what I want to know in one word. How are you feeling right now? What has been your dominant feeling, your dominant vibration for today in one word? How are you feeling? One word. Write it in the comments. Go. How am I feeling? I feel good. But let me be more descriptive. Happy. Yeah, I feel happy. I feel it's better than satisfied. I'm at happy. I feel happy. Yeah, that's my one word for today, happy. I'm just happy for no reason. Like there's nothing different that's happened with today. I'm just happy. So that's one of the things I first noticed when I started 1 meal a day. I was like, I just feel euphoric for no reason. I was like, this is nice. So, because I played with it for 2 weeks before I started this challenge, I was just trying to get some adjustments in and iron out some of the creases and just get some questions answered before I started the challenge. So yeah, I'm feeling happy and euphoric. That euphoric energy is now normal for me, which is really nice. So day 14, 2 weeks in. Now, again, this is the sweet spot. This is what's told of all 1 meal a dayers, that once they got 2 weeks in, you are accustomed to eating your intermittent fasting pattern. That's normal for you. The only spicy areas, I'll call them spicy areas, that I'm noticing at this point is that sometimes if I don't eat enough during my meal, I'll feel hungry that night. So making sure I eat enough. Like today I was going to make, let me show you. They're so good. So today my plan was to make this kidney bean burger and this soup. 2 meals. I was going to have a burger and some of the soup as my lunch. So I made the soup. I actually didn't put the pasta in it. I'm not a pasta person. Once I went through the Wild Fit class, and again, for information, click on the link below at snapbackbodywild.com and definitely join us for our next 90-day challenge. But I stopped doing the pasta. It's not really doing much for me, and I don't have a taste for it. It's just kind of getting in the way of all the juicy goodness that's in there, which was beans and green beans, and there were carrots, tomatoes. So getting in the way of all that. So I didn't put the pasta in it. So I still have that. I haven't thrown it away yet, but it's still there. But as soon as I tasted it, it was so filling. And then I thought, well, I'll have the soup first, and then I'll go back and make the burger. Oh, and it came with bread. So I didn't realize that. Once I saw the bread, I'm like, well, that's kind of a lot. Like to have soup with bread and then a burger, that was a lot. So I didn't make the burger. I ended up not making this meal. So I'll make this tomorrow. And then I ended up making a bagel. And then I had some seaweed chips. Like, oh yeah, get on the seaweed chips. But it was because I wanted to make sure I had enough food. Because again, the only time I have trouble is when I don't have enough food. So I'll put a link below for these. It's an organic food company, and they send the meals. Everything's pre-measured, instructions on the food card of how to make it. But I really like that for now because it just puts a lot of ease in the process. I'm not trying to decide what to make. Everything's already planned out. And I have 4 meals delivered each week. So again, I will put a link below so that you have that for the meal company. But making sure you're eating enough. That's the only area of spiciness for me with this, is if I don't eat enough, then by like 7:30 at night, I'm getting hungry because I eat at 1. So eating enough when you're having your meal is definitely a big, something that's really important. I'm hoping that your one word for how you're feeling is at love or above. I'm hoping you're feeling these satisfied feelings and knowing that we don't have to have something external happen in order to be at happy or joy or love or enthusiasm. You can just be at those vibrations. And then when you are, things that match that emotion come into your experience. So that's kind of nice. But I wanted to do our tips and tricks for today, day 14 of 1 meal a day. I also wanted to make sure I kind of clarified. I was talking to someone today, and I've noticed that a lot of people, I think, have confusion on what 1 meal a day is. 1 meal a day is when you are eating your meal in 4 hours or less. Generally, eating your meal in 1 to 4 hours is what we call the warrior diet. 1 meal a day means you're eating your meal in 1 to 2 hours. But as we know, sometimes it's just not possible unless all of your food is ready. So we're still 1 meal a day. Our meals might take 2.5 hours to eat, 2 hours, 45 minutes to eat. But our goal is, hey, we're going to get this meal in, and then, but we're still 1 meal a day. But if you're doing a 16-8, that is intermittent fasting. You're getting many benefits, but it's different from 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day is eating that meal, we'll say 4 hours or less, but technically it's 2 hours or less, but we'll give that 4 hours or less, because a lot of time people are interchanging warrior diet and 1 meal a day. So 4 hours or less is your 1 meal a day. Warrior diet is 4 hours or less. And to be technical, 1 meal a day is 2 hours or less of eating. So your eating window is 2 hours or less. That's what we're working towards. And again, we're being easy with ourselves. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified that for those of us who are beginners who want to know. And I wanted to look at, the screen and everything. I wanted to look at our tips for today, doing our tips and tricks. And our tip for today, intermittent fasting is not a diet. A lot of times when we think of diet, we think of something temporary, like do this, power through 6 weeks of this, and then 6 weeks is over and then everything goes the other way. And there's science behind why it does. And I look at people now who have weight to release, and I think they think it's their fault, and it's not. When I went through the Wild Fit program, it changed everything I knew about eating. And I would almost get upset with, wow, I've been told all this information that certain foods are good for me, they're toxic for the body. But the minute I would start to get upset, I was so happy that I had the information, so that I couldn't be mad, because I'm like, but I've got the information. Look at these changes that I'm making. This is so wonderful. So I wasn't really able to be upset for more than like, I don't know, half a second before I was like, wow, look how I feel and look at this information. So, and then finally, as I said, I felt I had a responsibility to share this, because there are people who are sick, people have chronic illnesses, diseases, diabetics and high blood pressure, high cholesterol. There's so much that's going on, so many chronic illnesses and diseases, cancer, people who are wanting to release weight, obesity, and people are thinking it's their fault or thinking they just, oh, it's their genes, but not knowing that it takes years of a habit to turn on a gene. You're not just going to turn on high cholesterol at a certain age. It means for years you've eaten a certain way and been under certain stressors. It takes years to turn that on. And also you can turn it off and turn on a gene for not having high cholesterol. So, and that's something that I did during the 90 days. I reversed diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I reversed all of that. So, and I'm excited to share this with you. So get the information. You can sign up for a discovery call, and I will answer your questions about the challenge. It's a 90-day challenge, and you will get a 40% discount by just being a part of this challenge here, the 1 meal a day. What the Wild Fit class, the Snapback Body Wild, does is it really helps you in choosing food. So that's one reason that with the soup, I didn't add the pasta. I could have. It wasn't that I couldn't have it. We don't have couldn'ts on that transformational lifestyle plan. But I looked at it and I was like, no, it's not something that I'm going to add. So I didn't, but that's part of it. And it just slowly, you will learn, you'll learn how to eat, and it changes forever. The way you think about foods, the way you feel about foods, it just changes it. I think differently. And no diet I went on ever did that. Any diet I went on was like 12 weeks or 6 weeks of torture. And then I'd get off of it and start gaining the weight back and saying, oh, I'm going to do it again. And, as if it was my fault. And it really wasn't. Once you go through this program, you'll understand. And these are permanent changes that I've made, permanent changes that my classmates made who went through the classes with me. It's just, it changes the way you think about food. So join, come. I will be excited to have you there. You can do a 2-week trial of the class if you would like to. And yeah, so definitely snapbackbodywild.com. There's a link below. But back to our tip for today, intermittent fasting is not a diet. It is a pattern of eating. So it's a pattern of eating. Diets are short-term intervention. Patterns of eating, that's a lifestyle. So definitely thinking about that, what we're doing with intermittent fasting, this 1 meal a day, it's just normal now. Today, for me, it's actually Friday today. But I didn't work today. Well, I did work a couple of hours, but I didn't schedule myself to work today. And it was like at 11:30, I remember thinking, oh, I'll start making my meal at 12:30 in an hour and I'll eat at 1. It was not a big deal at all. And even last weekend when I didn't take a weekend last weekend. That's right. The last weekend that I took a weekend off, it was difficult. And I was like, oh my goodness, 6 more hours to eat, 5 more hours to eat. So it was really difficult. Today, it was like not a big deal at all. I was like, oh, it's 11:30. It's like just an hour and a half. It's like, okay, I'll start making my meal at 12:30 so that my food is ready at 1. And I think it wasn't ready until like 1:15. No, it was 1:30 actually. That's right. I started eating at 1:30. So there you go. It's just it's a lifestyle now, this intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day. And this is the way I ate in college. I wouldn't eat until like 2:00. So I would get up, I would go to class, I would drink water. I was just a heavy water drinker. So I would drink water, go to class, and I would eat at about 2:00. And that's how I ate in college until I started drinking coffee. Once I started drinking coffee, that is what kind of opened up me putting something in my mouth in the mornings that wasn't water. That kind of started that habit. Was I started drinking coffee, and it was a big one. It was like the caramel frappuccino. I like started in heavy. After a few years of that, I went to just black coffee. So that's what I drink now. It's just black coffee, and I'll put almond milk in it because I was like, oh no, I'm not doing all those extra things in it. So that was what kind of got me out of the natural 1 meal a day, which is what I was doing. And then I always worked out at 5:30 in the evening. So then I would usually have like a granola bar or 2 right before I worked out. And that was it. But I would have my meal like at 2:00. It was just normal. I remember coming home from college, and my mom one time was like, oh, honey, do you want to eat? And I was like, no, Mom, I don't eat until about 2. And it was just not a big deal. So there are a lot of us who naturally are doing 1 meal a day, and we just kind of get out of that habit. And then I joined some plan that I was counting this or that. And they were like, oh, have breakfast, eat 6 meals a day. So I actually had to train myself to eat in the mornings because I just wasn't hungry in the mornings. It just wasn't something I did. I'd wake up, go walk the dogs, do anything, but I wasn't waking up eating. That just wasn't a normal part of my day. So it's nice to be back to that point where I wake up and I really enjoy the coffee now. It's nice. So wake up, enjoy the coffee, and then enjoy that water, the clean water fast until I eat. Our tricks for today, we do tips and tricks every day. Our tricks: wake up 1 hour earlier. Try that. Wake up 1 hour earlier and give to yourself before you give to everyone else. Have that hour for you. And so in that hour, you can do your mindfulness practice. There's a link to meditationrising.com. There's a link below. Enter your email address. You get free, unlimited access to the morning meditation. It's a 6-minute meditation. So in that hour, you can do that meditation. You can do 20 minutes of exercise in a fasted state. You can do 20 minutes of reading, and then you can be ready for your day. And then you've given to yourself. Those of you, if you're starting a business, instead of 20 minutes of reading, you can do 20 minutes of working on your business, and then get ready for your day and giving to others. But you have to give to yourself first. You have to make yourself whole before you can give to others, or what you're giving is not whole. So just keeping that in mind. So that's our trick for today. And our homework is, I just want to reiterate, give you time to make sure we're doing the homework from yesterday, which is coffee or water in the mornings, coffee or tea in the mornings, and then water until your meal. So just a reminder of that. And then 10 minutes of yoga in the morning in a fasted state. And if you're getting up an hour earlier, we can stick 20 minutes in the mornings of that. So in a fasted state of exercise. And yeah, remember to weigh in today. This is 2 weeks in. So you should have had already 2 weigh-in days and 2 measurement days. I'm doing weigh-in measurements. And remember, if you don't want to look at that number, do a drive-by weigh-in. Get the app that you should already have. You have a scale that's linked to the app. You get on that scale, turn on your app, you'll hear it. That means it's logged in your weight and it's done. You don't have to look at the number. Why look at it if you think it's going to upset you and derail your inspiration for 1 meal a day? Wait until the end of the second 30 days. I did that. I mean, I've done that at one point. You know, the first 30 days, the second 30 days, you'll of course see the numbers of your measurements. You'll see that going down. But if you don't want to look at that number on the scale, do a drive-by weigh-in. That's my suggestion. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Simone Simpson from Wondering Yoga Cafe Entertainment. This is day 14 of our 1 meal a day, 30-day challenge. You did it. You're doing it. I will see you tomorrow on day 15.